Yeah. So check it out. We're going to take a trip back in time to December 1st, 2026. And just remember, I've been telling y'all this from day one. But now let's take a trip down memory lane and remember what I told you then. And then pay attention to what's happening now. And maybe, just maybe, y'all will start listening and paying attention to what I've been trying to tell y'all. I'm watching the patterns. I'm paying attention to the synchronicities. And I'm not just listening to what people are saying, but I'm hearing their words and I'm following their actions. You want to know what people really think and how they feel? Just believe them when they tell you.
So now my question to the Supreme Court, what exactly am I going to say to those 100,000 children who were born here and whose parents are on CPS and can be at any time deported? What should be my answer? And my hope is that you have a child. If you don't have a child, you have a nephew, you have a cousin, and you know how deeply connected parents are to their children. And for you to sit on this highest Supreme Court desk and make such a terrible, horrible decisions, to me, this is not acceptable. And I think this is the time for all of us, this entire country, needs to stand together and to say enough is enough. This is not acceptable. This is inhumane.
You American? Dirty black American?
Wait, what?
Huh?
No.
Who?
Dude.
As far as? I'm Haitian. Why? Where you from? What's your background? You American? Dirty black American?
Wait, what?
Huh?
Well, hello, good evening. This is your man's, the man about town, Petty Murphy, reporting to you live from the back of the classroom with Alcata News Network. What is that? Wait a minute. Stay tuned. Breaking news.
Somali says black Americans don't know their
Especially
fathers.
African Americans, they don't even know their fathers. They don't even know their fathers. It was all of them, most of them were the product of one night stand. One night stand. They will tell you, I don't know my father. Well, who named you? Whose name are you carrying? Well, my mother chose his name for me.
Yo, what's cracking? So yeah, you already know what it is, right? So let's get into it. Now, I speak to my peers about this all the time, and I always get pushback. But you know, it's funny because the last time I spoke to my father and my mother, even though according to the Somalian imams, we're all products of one night stands and we don't know who our father is. But I've noticed a pattern, right? And you can take this all the way back to when it started with the Venezuelans, right? But if you actually pay attention to what's going on, every time something happens in the world of the interwebs, and someone goes viral for saying some vile, disrespectful tomfoolery or malarkey to and about black Americans, especially when there's something that's done like being locked in African hair braiding shops and accosted.
So Mama Gifted Hands is in jail, and not just Mama Gifted Hands, 2 of her workers is in jail. And I'm gonna tell y'all how $50 is gonna turn into $50,000. And as a business owner, you have to move different out here. So Mama Gifted Hands told this lady $200, okay? And we know after she got done or whatever the case may be, she wanted to charge the lady $50 more. But this is what you told her over the phone. Maybe that's all the lady had. Maybe that, and even if that's not all she had, that's what you told her, okay? So then you wants to rip this lady hair when it's time for her to go. This is what you told me. I'm not paying extra, this, whatever the case may be. Africans are already under the radar. We already know attitudes, blah, woo, woo, this. Now, the Africans that braided my hair, I must say they were beautiful people inside and out. They treated me very nice, okay? Now, I'm not saying all Africans are like that, but they do be having a little attitude. And I said I was one of the ones to say that a lot of African women do not like black women, okay? Keep that in mind. My video went viral. But anyway, and I'm going to say this again. The Africans that I went to, they were very beautiful, respectful. They was very nice to me. I must say that. But anyway, this $50 is going to cost her $50,000 because now you have to get out of jail. You have to bond these other ladies out, probably help them get out of jail. You have to get a lawyer, you know what I'm saying? Court fees and all the above. And plus, on top of that, you're going to have to end up paying this lady. And you're going to lose customers because a lot of people not going to want to come back to you. So as a business owner, you have to watch the way that you move. So you would have lost out on that $50, but now you're going to lose out on $50,000. So you have to make it make sense, okay? She's not going to win nowhere around the board at all. You know what I'm saying? You really have lost. So make sure as a business owner, you make decisions, you know, for your business and what's best for you is what I'm saying. Hugs and love. Y'all be blessed to J-Lo.
Things of that nature, or like the young sister in Texas that was ran over on a jet ski by 2 Venezuelan illegal migrants that came across Mama La Kamala and Poppy Sleepy Joe's border.
She was arrested. Alejandra Gonzalez on the right, who was involved in a hit-and-run jet ski accident over the Memorial Day weekend that left an 18-year-old dead, has been arrested for leaving the scene of an accident. Alejandra is wasted, but she decides to rent a jet ski. She doesn't have a driver's license, but that's not a big deal because these undocumented immigrants were renting jet skis illegally by the lake. 18-year-old Ava Moore was in a kayak. She is struck from behind by Alejandra's jet ski and suffers severe head injuries. But instead of rendering aid, Alejandra decides to get inside a vehicle with this guy on your left and get out of Dodge. Several undocumented immigrants got her into a vehicle and rushed out of there. They left in such a hurry that they hit another vehicle on the way out. People who saw the entire accident tried to stop them, but they couldn't. They still got away. Ava Moore was airlifted to a nearby hospital where she later passed away. She had just enlisted in the military. The girl in the middle is the same girl on your right, but she dyed her hair thinking that this way authorities were not going to be able to recognize her. Everyone involved in this hit-and-run accident were undocumented immigrants from Venezuela. And an old Spanish saying comes to mind, por uno pagamos todos.
Right? But the one thing I've noticed is after every instance of this happening and it goes viral, it seems like within about a 2-week period, all of a sudden, they all seem to start losing TPS protection. And the next thing you know, there's a round of deportations that started. And if you think I'm bullshitting, pay attention to Minnesota and what's going on with Ilhan Omar and her crew right now. And now you've got them on the internet talking about something, but we need help. But we need help. Just like when they started with the Venezuelans and the dude got on TikTok and said, "Black people, get your popcorn. You think we're gonna ask you for help?" Because
first of all, Mexicans are not alone. They have Honduran people, they have Salvadorian people, they have Guatemalan people, they have Nicaraguan people, and a whole bunch of other countries that are willing to join forces with the Mexican people. Black people, what makes you think that Mexicans are going to come running to y'all for help? What for? Y'all black people can't even help yourselves. That's wild.
Yep. You already know what it is. You can't even help yourselves. And I will vote for Donald Trump. A few moments later, and here we are. Now you're realizing that there's levels to this. And even for the naturalized citizens, now you're understanding that Black Americans have been here for generation upon generation. We are born from the soil citizens with actual lineage to this land. That's why Donald Trump told you after the inauguration that if they got rid of birthright citizenship, the only people that couldn't be removed from this land is the descendants of American chattel slavery, which means Black Americans, the Acatas, the Moyos, the Mayetes. So, mejora la raza. So yeah, y'all keep on keeping on because y'all keep fucking around and finding out it ain't looking too well. It ain't looking too good for y'all. And to the Black Americans who keep putting yourselves, your temples, your bodies, your divinity, and your sovereignty on the line for people who clearly think you have no culture, who clearly think that you are uncouth and uncivilized, who clearly think you are all the product of one-night stands and adultery because you don't know who your fathers are. And this is what they preach in their religious temples. These are supposed to be men of God lying to their people on our land and our home as we subsidize their whole existence. The number one immigrant group that is the benefactor of social services such as SNAP, Medicaid, and housing are Somalians. So while they sit here and rob the federal government and the American people because we are the government, we the people blind, and they openly talk shit about the only group of people that actually ever fought for them. Because you know what's funny? While you sit there and talk about Black Americans don't know this and don't know that, we were the only ones that actually fought to build the bridge for you to come over here and get that TPS status. Or did you forget? We made a movie called Black Hawk Down when y'all were dragging our servicemen through your town squares. They was trying to help liberate you. Or oppress, however you want to look at it, right? One man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist, and one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. But I'll tell you this much, you've been getting TPS, which is temporary protected status, for over 30 years. And in that time, all you did is violate and disrespect us in our own communities. As you say, you have to take political seats from Black Americans because we have no morals. Well, now you getting your ass ran up out of here and you fucked around and found out. And again, if you're a Black American, why are you fighting against your own best interests? I mean, what is it that's going on in your mind that makes you think that these people have ever cared about us? Because ever since 1965 and that good old Immigration Act that was attached to the Civil Rights Act, we have openly fought for the betterment of them. And as you see, once they get in office, the first thing they do is they take care of home and they vote against the reparations that was outlined in the Emancipation Proclamation. Because why? They won't get a piece of the pie. And the same descendants of Black Americans that fought for their freedom when they couldn't fight for themselves in their own homeland, so they had to run here and then live off of the work and the blood, sweat, and tears that we've put out there with absolutely no thanks, and Ashley's been met with nothing but disdain, arrogance, open hatred, and lies. And some of us still continue to support these people. Well, I'm going to speak for myself, and I know the majority of people that I actually interact with actually feel the same way. And it's funny because, you know, you have the two groups now. You have the people that see what's going on, but they don't want to say anything publicly because they don't want to get branded or labeled xenophobic. They don't want to be looked at as the Black oppressor because they're speaking facts and speaking the truth. So they say nothing. Then you have the other side that they don't care about themselves. They're suffering from the worst brand of Stockholm syndrome. And they sit around and agree with these people when they violate their own nation and their own tribes. This shit is wild to me. It is beyond wild. But you know what? It's not my cross to bear. But I tell you what, I will keep, and I will stay on code. And I'm going to keep pushing this until my people wake up. Because we're continuing to fight for things that we will never benefit from, and it benefits every other group from outside the nation. And we're stuck footing the bill. But when you start going through a lot of these statistics, because you know, for the longest time, the American Black woman has been the symbol of the welfare queen. But then when you go through the statistics, it tells a whole nother story. And if you learned anything from the government being shut down, you saw who was doing the most crying and the most whining. The number one recipients, number 1, 2, and 3 recipients of DEI and affirmative action and the benefits of SNAP, Medicare, Medicaid, and everything else, right? White women and immigrants, especially those that are illegal, that use claiming asylum because they get a temporary social security number when they do that, and that's the loophole of how they get SNAP benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, Section 8, and the like, as well as the programs that they only qualify for and Americans don't qualify for, like grants for first-time homeowners in California and the like. So while you're getting dog walked and feeling inflation because of the government subsidizes food for their 25+ million visitors, or as I like to affectionately call them, the Mama Kamala kids. And anytime the government subsidizes anything, it's like insurance. When you start paying insurance premiums, all of a sudden in the hospital, the aspirin goes from 3 cents to $10. So when they got here and the federal government started subsidizing SNAP benefits or food stamps and handing out debit cards with thousands of dollars of them, a la Senior Mayor Eric Adams of New York City, the average everyday tax-paying citizen then had to suffer, because not only do we have to pay more inflation and then the taxes going up, we also had to deal with everything that came with it. People being set ablaze on subway trains. Essays of young children as young as 5 years old in broad daylight. And if you like, I have no problem, because I can quickly go through and grab receipts. But this is where we're at. And this is what some of you are still fighting for. So remember, at the end of the day, if you really want anything to change and you truly care about what's going around you and your country, get up, get active, and do something. And stop cutting off your nose to spite your face, because you look stupid and crazy. And on that note, I'm gonna get out of here. And remember, real lies, real lies, real lies. Just like, don't none of y'all know who your daddy is. And this again is the imam of a Muslim mosque in America telling immigrants that the Akatas don't know who they are, and they don't even know their father, while we go to work every day, continuing to build bridges to make them a better life, and work down to the muscle, to the gristle, right? Down to the white knuckling it up, so that the taxes can be paid, so that they can have a better life that we can't even benefit from. On that note, I'm gonna get out of here. Remember, y'all keep your eyes to the stars, keep that head on the swivel, because it's a dirty game out here. And I highly suggest, pay attention to what's going on, read the room, pay attention to the patterns, start moving accordingly, because they don't care about you. They never have, and they never will. And if we continue on, the lie that they're telling, that they believe so much, is going to become the truth. And all of the historical books are going to be changed, that this nation was built by the labor of immigrants that arrived after the 1965 Civil Rights Act, and not your ancestors or my ancestors that were here from jump.